Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Bad Batch. Today I'm reviewing and breaking down episode 5, The Return. Now in the last episode, Omega and Crosshair had crash landed on an Imperial planet and ended up escaping, only to meet Hunter and Wrecker at the very end. Now looking back, you could honestly skip that episode and just assume that Crosshair and Omega escaped from the Empire the first time, because honestly there's not anything of real consequence that happens in that episode outside of them meeting the rest of the Bad Batch at the very end. So if you really wanted to, you could skip to the very end of the episode once they reunite with Hunter and Wrecker. The plot of episode 5 follows the Bad Batch with Echo joining the team as they return to the planet Barton 4, which if you remember from season 2 was the snowy outpost planet that Crosshair was stationed on, where he worked alongside a clone commander named Mayday who ended up being killed due to the lack of concern from an Imperial Lieutenant Nolan. Now, Crosshair ended up killing Nolan out of anger, and that was when he was imprisoned by the Empire and sent to Tantus, where he ended up being tortured and experimented on by Dr. Hemlock. So he returns to this planet with the Bad Batch as they believe that they can use the datapad of Nala Se that Omega took during their escape from Tantus to possibly find the coordinates of the base or other information that they could use to return to the planet and save the clones that were left behind. Crosshair suggests Spartan 4 because it's remote, and when they arrive, there is absolutely no one there. But the team does end up having to face a giant worm-type creature, which of course they do, because what would a Bad Batch season be without a few episodes where they face some type of creature or animal? Hunter and Crosshair get into it multiple times as they still don't fully trust each other after Crosshair returned to the team. Though Crosshair does end up saving Hunter from the giant worm, while Omega, Wrecker, and Echo try to restore power to the base, turn on the datapad, and gain the intel from it. Now, at the end of the day, the intel that they gain from the datapad isn't very useful. It has more to do with the experiments and the medical information, rather than any info regarding the actual location of the planet. So I suppose that they failed at the actual mission of the episode, but it does give an opportunity for Crosshair to try and start rebuilding the trust with his team, specifically with Hunter. And the episode ends on a really good message where Hunter tells Crosshair that they can't change the past, they can't undo their sins, but they have to believe that there's hope that they can be better and that the future can be better. And this episode is mainly about redemption. Outside of the dealing with the big creature thing, the episode was really about Crosshair having to face his regrets, facing his sins, as you see him going around the outpost and picking up the clone trooper helmets of those he served alongside, albeit shortly, during his time at the base. I'm sure he specifically thinks of Commander Mayday, who he fought alongside against a group of rebels and ended up dying, again due to the lack of concern of the Imperial Lieutenant, who just didn't care about the clones and believed that they were all disposable. An attitude that has frequently been expressed by the Empire throughout seasons 1 through 3 of the Bad Batch, and something that Crosshair has had to experience firsthand a number of times, leading to his development from being all in as a good soldier of the Empire in season 1 to season 2, where he starts to become not just resentful, but angry at the Empire for the treatment of the clones, until he ends up killing Lieutenant Nolan and gets imprisoned. But I do believe there is hope for Crosshair to receive some redemption and also to rebuild trust with his team, because at the beginning it's revealed that they actually kept his old armor, which he redons for this mission. And it shows that even though they were angry at Crosshair's betrayal, that they always held out hope that Crosshair would one day return. And another interesting piece of character development was actually from Hunter, because there's a point where Crosshair and Hunter really get into it, and Crosshair forces Hunter to reckon with the fact that one of the reasons he's so angry is because he wasn't able to save Omega, but rather Crosshair was. Which I think is true, but it's also on top of the fact that Crosshair betrayed the Bad Batch during the first season of the show. And even though it took him a while to get there, Crosshair did eventually realize that being a good soldier who follows orders doesn't really mean anything if the people that you're serving don't care about you or the value that you bring to the organization. And I wonder if one of the reasons that Crosshair goes along with Omega so much is because he sees her as his best chance at redemption, because she's going to help rescue those clones, and it'll give Crosshair a chance to basically make up for standing by while not just the Bad Batch was persecuted for defecting, but other clones as well, and how overall the clones were treated as essentially battle droids, despite being fully sentient beings. And despite their years of service for the Republic, they were easily cast aside in favor of conscripted troops who, despite not having the ingrained loyalty, there would be a far higher volume of them to serve the Empire. Also, looking at the fact that Crosshair's hand is still shaky, likely due to the experimentation and torture done to him at Mount Tantus, I wonder if Crosshair is going to be forced to sacrifice himself at one point in order to be useful and perhaps make up for the death of Tech, if in fact he is dead, as I kind of hope and believe that Tech was brainwashed and became one of those clone assassins, as both during episode 3 as well as the trailer, they really focus in on a clone assassin's helmet, and I think they did that for a reason. I don't think it's going to be just another nameless clone who became an assassin. Overall, I liked the content of the episode. I like the focus on Crosshair. I like him rebuilding his trust with the team. I just wish that the circumstances were more interesting. As I mentioned before, and as they even joke about in the episode where Wrecker says, how many times do we have to fight some giant monster? I get that they're kind of writing in a little meta commentary there, but I don't think that really makes up for the sheer number of filler episodes where they had to either fight or save some type of creature. I mean, the last episode was Omega and Crosshair saving Batcher. And again, I think that entire episode was really lacking in stakes, as was this one, but they do manage to get some character development going, which is great, as we are a third of the way through season 3, which is the last season of the show. But I think that's all I had for my review of this episode. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you would hit that like and subscribe button, as well as the notification bell so that you never miss out on a new video. Thanks for watching.